So Governor Dan Malloy, who I will optimistically call my predecessor, he introduced the first five plan. It brought companies. I'm Mark Stewart. So Governor Dan Malloy, who I will optimistically call my predecessor, he introduced the first five plan. He brought funding, good funding, for five significant companies to establish themselves in Connecticut. I, Mark Stewart, am well before inauguration introducing First 500. And that's to bring even more important entities to the state. Those entities are schools. What kind of schools? Any schools. High schools, middle schools, elementary schools. At the upper level, they could be specialty schools. They could be dedicated to science or performing arts, hospitality, sports, communications, math, health sciences, anything. They could be private schools, okay? Those devoted to religiosity. That can come into play as well. First 500 means schools that will not rely on the state for funding, except for a voucher that will start to diminish over time, okay? That's what gets them started. It's a boon to educators and administrators. Mostly, it's a boon to students. The method for ongoing funding is vouchers that are tied to the student, so that where the student chooses to go is where the money goes. That puts power in the hands of families. And you know who it most takes it away from? The legislature. We no longer have to be tied to a formula of equitable cost sharing, which is not equitable. We don't have to worry about a budget that one year is not being approved or being approved more for some schools and not for other schools. And most importantly, we don't have to have the expectation that badly managed schools will get funded by well-managed schools. It's not fair, and especially not fair to students who are stuck because they're not going to get incrementally better. They're going to get much better with the pressure of market forces. Capitalism is a good thing for education, and we should apply it. First 500 does that in force. So we will give a $2,000 per student voucher for every student in a new school, and $3,000 for every faculty member or staffer that the new school has. Other vouchers could be in much larger amounts. That's for the legislature to decide. So the schools are funded not really by the legislature. It's by the families who choose to go to that school, and it makes the schools better. They have to be better to keep attracting families. How good is that? It puts power in the hands of families, because for too long they have been disempowered. And when they can cross school district lines, families have tremendous choices. They're the ones calling the shots, and the schools, because they have to comply, are going to get better. Now, so where might these schools pop up? Anywhere there's a building for lease. This could be in a old development, like in West Hartford, how UConn departed a couple years ago. There's a whole campus up for use. GE departed a lot of Stanford campus. There's still some buildings that available for educational uses. Look, part of Aetna is going to depart for New York. We could have students learning in the very executive suites that Mark Bertolini has abandoned. How cool is that? Anywhere there is a building, you can have a school. I went to a wonderful school, Breakthrough Magnet, in the north end of Hartford when it was first getting going. It's in a dumpy little building. They've thrived because they took care of their families. They were able to raise funds very well, and now they're in nice buildings with good everything, students, facilities, parents. We can have that all over the state. It does not have to be urban, suburban, or rural. It can be anywhere in any size. November 2018 leaves enough time for us to set up schools by August, so there will be no bureaucratic problems. Families now should look forward to Election Day, November 2018.